You ready for this? What's worse than treating mentally ill people as if they're, like, you know, automatically evil and want to inflict harm on you? What's worse than misgendering a dead trans woman 11,000 times in a row on an equality forum? You know what's worse than that? Child slavery. Yeah, that's right. The Supreme Court is upholding a decision, or, you know, they made a decision that basically says that chocolate companies, child slavery, it's all good, bro. We got you. You can use enslaved children, and what are you going to do about it? They're not American children. Who cares, right? The United States back on the slavery beat as if it ever left. All right, let's read. The Supreme Court on Thursday said U.S. chocolate companies cannot be sued for child slavery on the African farms from which they buy most of their cocoa. But the court stopped short of saying such a lawsuit could never go forward. The court's splintered decision was written by Justice Clarence Thomas. Justice Samuel Alito dissented from their decision, saying it was premature to dismiss the suit. 6 African men were seeking damages from Nestle USA and Cargill, alleging that as children they were trafficked out of Mali, forced to work long hours on Ivorian cocoa farms, and kept at night in locked shacks. Their attorneys argue the companies should have better monitored their cocoa suppliers in West Africa, where about 2/3 of the world's cocoa is grown and child labor is widespread. This is not child labor, folks. This is child slavery. These motherfuckers were shackled. At issue was whether the Malians have the right to sue the companies in U.S. courts, and, more broadly, under what circumstances foreigners may sue U.S. firms for wrongs committed in their company's supply chain overseas. So this is the thing. This is the argument here. Right? Nestle could source their cocoa from ethical sources. They choose not to. Why? Because they're a capitalist company and they can make an extra buck off of child slavery. That's why. So they could source their materials ethically. They choose not to. That's the problem, right? So they're using their leverage and their power as a U.S. major manufacturer in chocolate, right? They're leveraging that power to, you know, basically select, you know, again, think of it as the free market scenario, right? They're selecting the cheapest, you know, possible way to get cocoa. Just so happens it's child slavery. Again, as long as they're not American children, right? Right? And even then, if that were the case, I'm sure that they would get the same ruling because they're a fucking major company. That being said, that's the idea. Is they're just, you know, they're using their power to manipulate what would otherwise, you know, be, you know, a situation. Like, personally, in my opinion, all these chocolate companies should stop existing. In my opinion, like, I don't even like chocolate that much. I'm going to be honest with you. I would never purchase a product from these motherfuckers. Just throwing that out there. And again, this has been something that's been happening for thousands of years. Again, slavery never ended in the United States. Look at the prison populations, right? Like, slavery all around the world has never ended. People are constantly being trafficked into slave-like situations, right? The idea that we as a global species think we've moved on beyond slavery is ridiculous. It's obscene, and it's just abhorrently it's uneducated. Y'all are fucking stupid if you think that. I'm not talking about you in specific, but anyway. The plaintiff sued under the Alien Tort Statute, a 1789 law that allows federal district courts to hear any civil action by an alien for a tort only, committed in violation of the law of nations or a treaty of the United States. The law was largely dormant until the 1980s, when attorneys began using it to pursue international human rights cases. The Supreme Court in 2004 said some claims might be allowed under the law, but since then has narrowed the scope rather than expanding it. The court had previously rejected such lawsuits when the alleged misconduct occurred almost entirely abroad, and in the Malians case, the location of the alleged wrongs emerged as a critical point of dispute. In the view of the companies, such cases ought to be filed not against the corporations, but against the traffickers and farmers involved in Africa. So yeah, I'm paying the slave owners. Don't look at me, bro. It's not my fault they use slaves. It's not like I'm paying them explicitly and exclusively because they use slaves. No, 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 no. Right? No, 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 no. Right? Not happening. No, 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 no. It's not like, oh, the only way that we're able to make a profit here is by utilizing child slavery, and therefore we are, you know, promoting and propping up child slavery. That's not the case. right? No, 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 no. It's, it's their fault that they're, taking our money and then doing things with them. That's their fault. But anyway, Nestle never engaged in the egregious child labor alleged in the suit, the company said in a statement. We remain unwavering in our dedication to combating child labor in the cocoa industry. Then how about you, I don't know, stop paying child slavery traffickers? You can never take any of this shit seriously. You can never take any of it seriously. Attorneys for the Malians, meanwhile, argued that the mistreatment of the Malians stems from decisions by company officials in the United States, and therefore U.S. courts should handle the matter. While Nestle and other chocolate companies do not generally own the farms from which they obtain cocoa, the firms often provide training and other support to them. Again, they are paying them It's not like, oh, I'm paying you and you just happen to be secretly, having child slaves. It's not like it's a secret. They're being paid explicitly because they have child slaves, because that way they can make a profit off of it. We believe that they controlled the system of child forced labor in the Ivory Coast from the United States, said Paul Hoffman, an attorney for the Malians. In its decision on Thursday, the Supreme Court sided with the companies on that critical issue. Nearly all the conduct that they say aided and abetted forced labor, providing training, fertilizer, tools, and cash to oversee farmers, occurred in Ivory Coast, Thomas wrote in the majority opinion. Again, what the fuck? The proliferation of global supply chains in recent decades has led to recurring debates over the responsibility of multinational companies to monitor the adherence of their far-flung suppliers to standards on human rights and the environment. Business groups, including the U.S. I don't know if I have to read the rest of this. Go fuck yourself. But anyway, that's the absolute state of the United States of America and capitalism and major corporations. Do not purchase anything from Nestle. Right? They've got a lot of products. Look them up. They own basically everything. Fuck them in the face. We don't need them. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? We don't need them.